President Fattah al-Sisi to France at large, the significance, the number, enormous files that were put on the agenda of the talks between both leaders, and some of them were already said during the press conference that was held today between both by both presidents. Yesterday, President Fattah al-Sisi arrived to Paris, where he held a first meeting with the French Foreign Minister, Jean-Yves Le Drian, and they spoke about a number of regional files in preparation to today's summit with the French President. We'll be speaking about that and more in our episode with our guest, Ambassador Hamdy Saleh, former Assistant Foreign Minister. Thank you so much for being with us.
Delighted.
Let me start with the timing of the visit at this very particular time and at the backdrop of all these circumstances that are occurring in the region and the Mediterranean, definitely.
To start with, as you mentioned, the press conference, I enjoyed very much this press conference. It's amazingly telling about, this dialogue between France, which is one of the largest and most important, one of the most important countries in the northern part of the Mediterranean, and the most important country in the southern Mediterranean, Egypt. The relationship between the two countries is historical. The relationship between the two cultures is very important. The French pay very much attention to the Egyptian history. So there is historical rapport between Egypt and France, which continuously has been important in this quest for stability in the region, in the Middle East, and in the Mediterranean. However, as you said, this visit comes in the middle of very important development. One of them is this development about the give and take about what happened when this paintings about the Prophet ﷺ came out, and to what extent people were really denouncing France, and people saying, well, let's give it a chance. So the visit by itself means that here is a leader of the major Muslim country talking about that very clearly in Paris, in front of the president of France and in front of the media, the French media. But also in the middle of a major crisis in the eastern part of the Mediterranean, which so far has not been resolved. And clearly everybody apparently is waiting to see what will happen, whether the American election will have an impact, whether the European Union will be able to do something. So that's another context which is very critical. Also, a very critical point with regard to the two countries which are really bordering us, Libya from the one side, which really everybody is waiting to see what will be the scenario, and Lebanon very far, a little bit away, but very important to us as well, and very important to Paris, to France, and also the Palestinian issue. So, in a sense, this meeting comes in the middle of a very critical time, where developments in the region at large, and in Europe, and the Mediterranean at large, is really moving very fast, and to a large extent needs somebody to talk about what scenarios we are going to expect in the near future.
Yes. It also comes ahead of the French presidential elections, right?
That's 2 years later.
Okay. So, before we continue on with our discussion, let's have first this quick report. And President Sisi Macron discussed Egyptian-French ties, promoting tolerance among different religions. Let's watch.
President Fattah al-Sisi said talks with French President Emmanuel Macron in Paris on Monday confirmed the need to work jointly to promote tolerance, moderation and coexistence among religions, civilizations and peoples. The Egyptian-French talks tackled cooperation between the two countries and developments in the Eastern Mediterranean and Middle East regions. In a press conference following their meeting at the Élysée Palace, President Assisi said he discussed with Macron the need to enhance joint work on fighting extremism, terrorism, hate and racism. Assisi affirmed the need to enhance dialogue among peoples from different religions and cultures. The head of state added that he also stressed during the meeting the need to disassociate terrorism from any religion and stop offending sacred symbols and beliefs. He highlighted that an extremist organization has been operating in Egypt for more than 90 years, adding that he holds the responsibility of protecting a 100 million population country on his shoulders. President Assisi noted that the Egyptian-French relations are strategic, adding that Egypt seeks to increase trade and economic exchange. In remarks, President Sisi stressed the importance of the international community facing the provocations occurring in Eastern Mediterranean. He also stressed the need to dismantle the armed militias and the exit of foreign forces in Libya, noting that a comprehensive solution in Libya is the only way to achieve stability and preserve the country's unity. On the Palestinian file, President Sisi told the press conference that it is important to create an appropriate atmosphere for the resumption of negotiations between Palestinians and Israelis. For his part, the French president said that President Assisi is an important partner in combating terrorism. Macron also praised President Assisi's support for France against the hatred campaign.
Egypt and France have historical relations dating back to the end of the 18th century. French culture had and still has a significant impact on the Egyptian life in general, since the establishment of the state in Egypt and in modern sense, in the period after Napoleon and the era of Muhammad Ali. It was the French who opened the doors of ancient Egyptian history, helping us to read our ancient language and to reach what we know now about this Egyptian civilization. One of the most prominent of the French aid is the decipherment of the Rosetta Stone, which was found by an officer of the French campaign to Egypt. The hieroglyphic writing was deciphered in 1822. Muhammad Ali began to build modern Egypt. The Egyptian missions went to France in all fields of science and literature, from Rifa al-Tahtawi to Taha Hussein and others. We cannot deny that generations of Egyptian intellectuals were influenced by the writers and ideas of the French thinkers and writers such as Voltaire and others. One of the most important Egyptian books is The Influence of the French Civilization on the Vision of Rifa al-Tahtawi for Women, an encyclopedia of Egypt's description as a result of the French campaign. During the 18th century, Egypt made France a destination for its student missions and relied on French advisors for it wanted to establish schools, universities, or scientific bodies, or renew its life in any productive branches. During this period, the French participated in the construction of the bridges, buildings, and schools. In the military field, Muhammad Ali Pasha used French officers to establish the modern army of Egypt and to establish the modern navy. 2019 is a very special year in the history of the relations between Egypt and France, coinciding with the 150th anniversary of the opening of the Suez Canal, which is one of the great achievements in the course of bilateral relations. France's significant participation at the Cairo International Book Fair as the Golden Jubilee, held on 2nd of January of 2019, is one of the most prominent features of the Year of Egypt. France 2019. In the Opera Big Theatre, the first performance of Paris Opera Ballet with the participation of Cairo Opera Ballet took place in the Grand Hall.
In the Grand Hall, the Lafayette in France's King Tutankhamun exhibition will be held.
It includes a number of gold jewels, also in carving statues and funerary furnitures. Paris is the second phase of this exhibition. Egypt sponsors this exhibition as part of the global tour between the countries of the world for the monuments and artistic pieces of the Golden Pharaohs, which are unparalleled.